Hi, my name's Ewan, and this is the second video for the Ministry of Education. And today I'd like to tell you all about UK festivals. Now, if you've watched the first video, you'll know that we've covered the UK. Let me just bring up all the things that we've done so far. Okay, so we've talked about what is the UK, and you should have learned that the UK is made up of 4 countries: England, Wales, Scotland, and Northern Ireland, and that each country is distinct, is different from the other countries, and we have our own customs and traditions. And today what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the usual UK festivals, and I think you already know those festivals because we have done activities and events in the Ministry of Education to help you understand about the more usual UK festivals, Western festivals. But I also want to take you on a journey through some unusual UK festivals so you get to know a bit more about the whole of the UK. There are 2 more videos coming. It's popular foods from the UK as well as popular music. So let's have a look at UK festivals. There are 4 very popular and very well-known traditional festivals in the UK, and I don't want to spend too much time talking about these 4 festivals, but we'll just briefly introduce them to you. The first one is, of course, Christmas, and you will be familiar with many aspects of Christmas. You know, the fact that we have Christmas trees, that we have Christmas decorations, like you can see in this slide. We have a wreath on the wall, we have decorations around the fireplace, we have a Christmas dinner, and it is basically a big family gathering. It's a family festival, and that's the first traditional, the biggest traditional festival that we have in the UK. The next one is New Year Festival, and traditionally we celebrate the New Year with fireworks. This is the London Eye. This is on the River Thames in our capital city, London, and we have a firework display usually every year. And in some ways, it's similar to what you do in Taiwan with Taipei 101. You also celebrate the New Year, and you also have fireworks. And it's a sign of the beginning of a new year. And we usually make New Year promises to do something good in the new year. These are called New Year resolutions. And that's the second festival, and I think you're familiar with New Year. This, of course, is Easter, our 3rd biggest festival, and it's also related to Christmas because it's a religious festival. It's to do with the Christian religion, and historically we have been a Christian country, so these 2 festivals come from our religion. We are multi-religious now, so we also have other religious festivals, but this still is very big in the UK. You can see some chocolate Easter bunnies, and we celebrate this with Easter eggs and an Easter dinner on Easter Sunday, as well as meals on Good Friday, and this is all centered around our Christian religion. The last or the 4th big festival that we have is Valentine's Day, and this is has a focus for young people in the UK. And I think you're also familiar with Valentine's Day celebrations because you have a Chinese Valentine's Day, when young couples can celebrate their love for each other. So those are the 4 festivals that you are probably very familiar with. You know about these 4 festivals. So what I'd like to do now is to talk a little bit about some other less well-known festivals. I'm just going to talk about 5 festivals, and I'll show you the images of the 5 festivals. But really, to get to know these festivals, you should, after this video, just Google some short video clips of these festivals, because the video clips really make these festivals come alive. You can actually see what it is that's actually happening. All right, I'll try and explain it here in very brief ways, simple ways, but you can get a good idea from some video clips if you're interested. So the first festival that I'd like to talk to you about is April Fool's Day. April Fool's Day usually happens on the 1st of April. And in the UK, we learn about April Fool's Day from when we are children. And it continues all the way up, all through our lives. Adults celebrate this day as well and have a festival. Usually what happens is on April the 1st, you are allowed to play tricks on other people. And you are allowed to play tricks on them up until 12 noon. Okay, up until midday. After midday, you are not allowed to play any more tricks. And it is really bad manners if you play a trick on someone after 12 o'clock. So up until the middle of the day, you can play a trick on anyone. You can play a trick on your mother, on your father, and even on your teachers. So it's a very special day. Of course, you must be careful if you play a trick on your teacher, because your teacher can always get you back. But it's an interesting day, and you know, teachers will try and avoid all the more obvious tricks that children play on them on that day. So in this picture, you can see an example of the kind of tricks that people will play. This is a cup and someone's written on it. You've got to be careful. There might be a bug or an animal underneath the cup. Okay. Of course, there's nothing under the cup. It's just a trick. So that's 1st of April, April Fool's Day. The next festival, the next traditional festival that we have is Bonfire Night. Bonfire Night happens on the 5th of November. Okay, so we celebrate this festival. And that's maybe one of the reasons why in the UK we don't have a big festival for Halloween. Halloween is a very big festival in the US, in America. But in the UK, we have this festival 5 days after Halloween, and we prefer to celebrate this festival. This festival is very unusual because it celebrates a criminal, Guy Fawkes. And you can see a picture of Guy Fawkes. He's in his pink outfit. And it dates back from when he tried to blow up our government. Okay, the UK government, he put gunpowder in the Houses of Parliament, and he tried to blow up the Houses of Parliament, and he was unsuccessful. So part of the tradition on this day is to burn an image of Guy Fawkes, and we build a fire and burn an image of Guy Fawkes. And it's also a good excuse to light fireworks, have barbecues, get together and celebrate, usually in the evening. It's an evening celebration. And you will see many towns, many villages having their own bonfires to celebrate this tradition. Thirdly, this is a picture of the Malden mud race. And the Malden mud race usually happens in August. So the weather is reasonably warm. You might get to 20 degrees, 25 degrees. So it's a lot warmer. And what you have to do is you have to run, crawl, or even sometimes swim across a river that is covered in mud, and you have to wade or crawl through the mud to complete a race. And the course is about half a kilometre. This place is in the east of England. It's very near where my brother lives. So we annually go to this mud festival and watch people. It's an interesting festival because you also have lots of street activities. You have a fun fair. You have lots of things that you can do and not just take part in or watch the mud race. People sponsor themselves. They use it to raise money for charities to help disadvantaged people in the UK. The fourth festival is actually, from this picture, it's actually very difficult to explain. What are these people doing, you might wonder? And this is a very well-known festival. It's a cheese rolling festival. And if you look very carefully in this picture, on the bottom left-hand side of the picture, just here, you can actually see a cheese. And what these people, what all these guys, this is the men's race, but there is a ladies' race as well. So what all these men are trying to do is they're trying to catch this cheese. And the gentleman at the top of the picture in the white hat has rolled the cheese down the hill. And the cheese is a round cheese. So the round cheese is very good at rolling. And what all these competitors have to do is they have to run after the cheese. Well, it's better if they run because then they'll be the first one to get the cheese. And so the event is to try to be the first person to run down the bottom of the hill and to get the cheese. The cheese is about 3 kilos, so it would be worth probably about 10 to 15 pounds in money, in British money. In Taiwanese money, that's probably about 600 NT, 700 NT. And it's a very famous cheese. It's a Gloucestershire cheese. So this event usually takes place on the last Monday in May. The last Monday in May, which is actually the spring bank holiday. And you get lots of people coming to watch both men and women race down this hill to catch the cheese. You may ask, is it dangerous? And you can see from the two gentlemen near to the cheese, but not actually getting the cheese, and this other gentleman, then this crowd of people here falling over. And yes, it is a bit dangerous, and sometimes people do get injured, but that's one of the risks, if you like, of this particular festival. So that is the Malden Mud Race, no, the Gloucestershire Cheese Rolling Festival, and we come to the last festival. Now, you might be thinking that this last festival is being held in Brazil, that it's the Carnival in Rio. But in actual fact, we have a better carnival in the UK. You can see this is actually the UK because you have the UK buildings on either side of this street. This is a very famous street. It's actually the Notting Hill Carnival, a 3-day festival held in London in the area of Notting Hill. And it's British West Indian culture. They bring British West Indian culture to this festival, and it's a celebration of all their customs and traditions. And of course they have dancing, samba dancing, street dancing, and it is a street festival. It's similar to Taiwanese street festivals, night markets, but this takes place all day. And it's linked to the Caribbean. So it has Caribbean links to it. So what I've tried to show you is 5 unusual British festivals: April Fool's Day, Guy Fawkes Night, Malden Mud Race, Gloucester Cheese Rolling Festival, and the Notting Hill Carnival. And these are specific festivals, often in local areas, celebrated by local people. They're different from the 4 national festivals that you are already familiar with and you already know. And if you think about Taiwan, you think about your national festivals. You have national festivals like Chinese New Year, even Western New Year, Mid-Autumn Festival, Lantern Festival. These are all national festivals that most of the Taiwan communities celebrate. But Taiwan also has local festivals. For example, I'll try and pronounce this right, Yen Sui Firework Festival. The Yen Sui Firework Festival is a local festival that started off in a very small town and has developed and become more well-known, even internationally well-known, so that people from all over the world have heard about Yen Sui Festival. They might even visit Yen Sui. I hope I'm saying that correctly. Another example, and an example that I'm familiar with in Taiwan, is the Tianmu Halloween Festival. The Tianmu Halloween Festival. And this started off as a very small festival, as a small event where people in the local area of Tianmu could visit shops and do trick-or-treating. And children would dress up in costumes and ask for candy at different shops. And now it has become very well known, even to the point where at Halloween there are traffic jams. There are lots of cars and people travel in to Tianmu to take part in this festival. So just to conclude, and so that you can Google these festivals, I talked about the traditional festivals of Christmas, New Year, Easter, and St. Valentine's Day, and you know about those festivals. But the new ideas that the UK celebrates are April Fool's Day, Guy Fawkes Night, the Malden Mud Race, Gloucestershire Cheese Rolling, and the Notting Hill Carnival. Okay, so thank you for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the third video. Thank you very much. Goodbye.